So for this Sandbox episode, we're excited to talk to somebody who we've talked to before, but he is part of a duo, and they are at it again. Ladies and gentlemen, we're talking to founder and co-owner of Keymaster Games, Mr. Kyle Key. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show.
That's right. Thank you.
Hey, Kyle.
Pregnant pause.
Did you say pregnant pause?
No, yeah, you just, for a second, I don't know why, I just thought you were going to call him Maddox, and I thought you were like cycling the names in your head to make sure you had the right one.
No. We're talking to the bearded piece of the duo.
The bearded wonder of Keymaster Games.
Kyle, we've not talked to you independently yet, right? I mean, we've hung out with you at Creative South, and we talked to Maddox originally.
We had high fives at Gen Con. Good time.
Right, yeah. And a lot of times Maddox is the one who's always on camera. So, but you're getting the other side. You're getting me this time. So
we got the other side, and it's a good looking side. So tell everybody who might not be familiar with who you are, who Keymaster is, a little bit about who you are and what you're doing.
Thanks. Yeah. As you said, co-owner, founder of Keymaster Games. Keymaster Games is a independent, small game studio. We make tabletop board games. We're located out of Athens, Georgia, and we are now publishing our third board game, Space Park.
Yeah. So, and then we're going to spend a lot of time talking about that game. We're also going to talk about Kickstarter, which is the primary platform through which you guys get your funding to do all this stuff. But before we get to any of that stuff, let's talk a little bit about you. We learned a little bit about Maddox and his background and what got him where he's at. Let's hear about Kyle. Let's hear about Mr. Key, the Key in Keymaster. Where are you from? What are you doing?
I'm from all over the place, really. Yeah. If you want to get into like growing up, life history type stuff, I grew up in Houston, Texas. So I'm a Texas boy. I think we've had this discussion before.
Yep.
I'm still in search of a good kolache. They just don't make them here in Georgia. So for all the Texas fans out there, feel free to mail us some kolaches. I might send you a board game. Maybe not, but I don't know.
If we send you roughly $30 worth of kolaches, you'll send us a board game.
That is a deal. Yes, I will trade kolaches for that. Yeah,
that sounds great.
So yeah, grew up in Texas, moved around, went to high school in Georgia, went to college in Kentucky. Eventually landed back in Georgia with my wife, who is a physician's assistant. So we decided to settle down here in Athens. And I went to college, got a painting degree, fine arts, classically trained painter. And in the middle of all that, I kind of picked up graphic design and illustration. They kind of go hand in hand a little bit. So all my friends were in the media communication department doing graphic design and sort of that kind of work. And they needed illustrations for all their projects. They were working on stuff like that. So they, hit me up for illustration stuff. And after that, I kind of got into the illustration design world after college, started taking on clients and started working for as a freelancer for about 5 or 6 years. So that's kind of my...
the freelance world then too.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I had a desk job for a while at a mega church. I was the graphic design director at Southland Christian Church, which is about a 10,000 member church. So we were handling all the design and branding for all that. And I stepped out of that role into the freelance world, started taking on clients for illustration as well as large event planning. And they call them stunts, like publicity stunts. Anytime a corporation or someone's going to do a block party or something like that. So we did a lot of work like that. So,
do you still do freelance stuff now? So we talked a little bit before we started this interview, and you said at this point you've transitioned fully into Keymaster. So do you still have freelance work you do on the side, or all of your energy right now is going straight to Keymaster?
Yeah, I still get people who contact me for branding, for just logo work. The one steady client I had every year, we did San Diego Comic-Con. We did booth layouts and all the elevations and production for companies like NBC and AMC, Cartoon Network, and a lot of people like that. And they were like the steady work. And last year, I just had to say, like, I can't do it.
I know you want me, but you can't have me.
It's time-wise, those projects, you're going to spend 2-3 months on projects like that. And they require your time at night. They require your time at random intervals and stuff like that. And that's a freelance type thing. And with Keymaster stuff, it over the past year, it's just taken over. And my time is required fully on Keymaster. There's a whole business behind the scenes. And we have 2 games out in the market, worldwide sales. We have distribution we're handling, things like that. And so there came a point where I was like, okay, Keymaster's full time. I just gotta dive into this. I can't take on clients anymore on my own time because my time is dedicated to Keymaster now.
Yeah. So let's.
Hey, before we jump into that, because I want to ask a question about that. So when you're developing booths for something like Comic-Con, which is a big, it's a big showroom. What are the restrictions, and then what's the fun of being able to work with, licensed property? Like what assets do they give you as you're designing and developing these things, I guess? Because you're saying AMC, so I'm picturing, The Walking Dead. You're saying Cartoon Network, so I'm picturing like Teen Titans Go and like all these different. So like what is it that like what are your restrictions, and then what's the fun part about that?
I think we worked with a lot of people. Yeah, we worked with The Walking Dead, worked with South Park, worked with NBC on Blacklist, as well as Heroes, Revolution, all these things.
Oh, yeah.
We worked as a third-party consultant. So basically the way the system whole works, I'll give you an inside look on like how this works. Like you go to Comic-Con, you see this giant booth, or you see like, let's take Walking Dead. We all love The Walking Dead, so let's take that. They were our favorites to work with, I think, in the long run. But basically a marketing company or someone who's handling the site at Comic-Con comes up with an idea, says, this is what we want to do to promote this season. Or they're the ones checking off, what do we need to promote? What do we need to accomplish at Comic-Con? Mm-hmm. They're taking that to AMC. AMC is saying, cool, well, here's all the assets and all the artwork, everything that we have for that season. Why don't you mock up what you could do with that? So what the marketing company is going to come to us. Sometimes they come to us to do it. Sometimes they do it internally. They say, okay, well, we've secured the courtyard of this hotel. We're looking at a 60-foot courtyard, and it's 40 feet wide. Here's the building layouts, the schematics, all the measurements of everything in there. They actually send people to go measure walls, measure windows, and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then we come up with a plan. Like, okay, we're going to have a barbecue. And so they'll lay out that, and then they need to have Photoshop mock-ups. What does that look like? What's going to be on the wall? What's going to the entrance look like? What is, where are people going to go? What are the activations that people are going to be able to interact with? Stuff like that. So they need a book of just straight Photoshop mock-ups of that, so that the higher ups at AMC can say, that's a great idea. We'll put money against that. So let's do that. So, and then once that happens, then they're going to come back to you or us, and they're going to say, we love all those mock-ups you made. Let's make them real now. So here's the access to the files that you mocked up, and here's the high-res versions, and we need you to make print-ready files. Here's the printers we have lined up. So the marketing teams, that marketing company is setting up printers and timelines and stuff like that, and then we're actually making print assets from the files that they're giving us.
Man.
So that's like the whole rundown, and that happens all in a month. So from concept to sending print files out, you've got like 3 weeks, 4 weeks to like make that happen.
Wow.
And if there's a component to it that's not just printing, if there's a component to it that's some kind of sculpting or something that's going to require
a stage or
engineering,
so any of that stuff. Yeah, you're working with the engineer team that they've hired. They're giving you schematics. You're wrapping those things with graphics. It's all loose-based design off of, PDFs that are sending back and forth, stuff like that. So it moves real fast. So, but I mean, some of those it's awesome because you're getting these high-res art from the studio that's like, oh, this is like in the show, like, and it's really cool stuff to work with. So
that's sweet.
we were there a couple years ago, and they had this walkthrough thing right when Fear the Walking Dead was getting ready to come out in the church. Were you a part of that team to put together?
That was kept internally by AMC because they didn't want to hand out assets.
Gotcha. So they didn't want anyone knowing about what was happening. That's cool.
Yeah. So like in our activation booklet, which was like a 60-page document that says this graphic goes on this wall. It's all for installation teams, so that when a truck of graphics shows up, everyone knows where they go.
Yeah.
We had about 20 to 30 pages. It was like, this is the church. And it was just blank. Like it had stuff there, but like we had no idea what it, and we were like, are we doing that? And then they took it back internally and said like, no, we're going to do that. So we'll have all the graphics. And I think they made it look like the interior of a church and stuff like that. It was all printed.
Oh,
yeah. So
it was like fully immersive.
That was cool.
Yeah.
So all that is very cool. Had no idea that you did any of that. That's great. But you've now told those people to leave you alone. You're too busy. Kickstarter or Keymaster is where you're at now.
Yeah, it's a time commitment, and I said that's kind of the transition. That's how Keymaster really started, and that's probably a good way to say it. So like I worked for them doing that work like that for 4 to 6 years. That's high pressure work. You're working on really cool stuff, but like when it comes down to it, like it's tough. That is tough work to deliver on timelines like that. And it's 2-3 years now. I found out that I needed to have open heart surgery.
Oh,
so yeah, big bomb there. I was actually born with a really bad heart. I had open heart surgery when I was 8 days old. And that's why I ended up in Houston, because Texas Children's Hospital is top notch.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So I basically grew up in Houston because I needed Texas Children's Hospital. Kind of did okay through life, had open heart surgery again in high school. So short story about that one is I really wanted to play football, even though my doctors, just hate stuff like that.
Yeah,
so I bugged them, and they're like, okay, do spring training and we'll check you out. Did spring training. They checked me out and they're like, your heart valve is not doing well. So you needed to be replaced. So had a second open heart surgery in high school. And then fast forward to about 3 years ago, I found out I needed another open heart surgery because I have a faulty aorta valve. So your main valve, that is the last valve before blood goes to the rest of your body. Mine's just junk. So it's like car parts, like they put parts in. Yeah. It's been 12 years, like I need a new part. Like the one they put in just is not that good anymore.
Yeah.
So, I found out that I needed another one, which is earlier than expected, kind of a big blow. And with any news like that, even though it was slightly expected just early, you do a life assessment, right? Like you're like, what am I doing? So I was working for these big clients, doing the work. I liked the work, found it enjoyable, but it really just took some time. And I thought, what do I really want to make? Yeah. Like if I was just going to do stuff, like what would I do? And kind of at the same time, I had some friends who introduced me to board games, and the way board games work, like you find one game, you play it, you love it, you find another game, and you just start collecting them. Yep. And over the course, so when you find out when you need surgery, there's about 4 or 5 months where you need to like schedule everything and get prep work and all that. And so in that month period, I just started buying board games like crazy. And I mean, people weren't going to say no if I was like, hey, you want to play a board game? So like all my friends are like all over at the house, I'm like, hey, I want to have a board game night. And everyone's like, cool, I'm in, I'll be there, man. So I was just like, my wife says it was like a board game depression, that she just wasn't going to stop, because it's like, I just kept buying games. And I amassed a collection in that like 4 months, and I had tons of people to play with. And at the end of it, I was like, hey, this is awesome. Getting people around the table. We're building memories. Yeah. Like, this is fun. It's distracting as well from what's going on normally. You get to go and you get to be things. You get to experience things with your friends. And, of course, the designer and artist in me at the end of the 4 months, I was like, I kind of wish that game did this a little more, or maybe I don't like how it ends like that. It should maybe end like this,
Yeah.
So that started happening, and at the right there at that same time, into surgery and recovery, which is a 6-month recovery, man, I just the wheels started turning. I was like, I think I want to make board games. I think I could just make some games. I've got art skills, design skills. I think we could just do this. And so in the end, that's how Keymaster Games started. I said, yeah, man, I'm going to make board games with really good art. And the goal is to have it approachable so friends can get together around a table and just build some memories. So
that's cool.
That's the genesis story of Keymaster Games.
Well,
awesome.
You were right. You said, I think I can do it, and you absolutely have. So the 2 games that are out now, you mentioned before, are Control and Campy Creatures. We've done a lot of in-depth conversation, especially about Campy Creatures. The one that's out now, that's currently on Kickstarter, is Space Park. So why don't you give us a quick rundown of what Space Park is?
Sure, yeah. Space Park is it's our latest game, and it is basically a space park. It's not a theme park. It's a national park, and there's lots of destinations you can go to. And the premise is that there are 3 rockets available that go to 7 different destinations. And we are trying to become the next great space explorer. And in order to become the next great space explorer, you need to take those rockets to different destinations to collect crystals. And the crystals then get turned in for exploration badges to become and prove yourself as the next great explorer. So it's mechanics-wise, it's a collection of crystals to earn the badges you can before other people can earn the badges and prove themselves as the next great explorer.
In any board game, crystals are so satisfying. It's like the game, 80% of why I like the game Quartz is just because of the, whatever the material is, the resin or whatever I like to believe that you only put crystals in there because you're like, I just need this material in this box. So like anything else, the artwork for the game is beautiful, and we're what, halfway through this Kickstarter right now, something like that?
Yes, yeah, a little bit more than half. So we've got, I checked the number of days left, but yeah, we're getting towards halfway point.
And this one got funded quick.
Yes, yeah, we were super excited to see people show up day one. We tried to get the word out. That's a big thing about Kickstarter, is just making sure everyone knows when the actual launch is. So when you actually hit that button on our side, people are there to jump in. And I think that's successful with the 2 games before it. We were able to talk to those people and say, hey, here comes our 3rd game. So we hope you jump on board with us.
So Space Park, and we've said it before, all of your games look incredible. You said that the goal of Keymaster is to get people around the table having fun making memories, and it looks good doing it. So that's all good. We'll get back to Space Park, but in between there was another game, Claims of Gold, that was funded, or not funded, but it was, you guys created it, got it, tried to get it going, and it just kind of didn't take off. It looked as good. To me, it looked just as good as your other games, and leading up to it seemed to have the same amount of push socially as Space Park has. Can you talk a little bit about maybe what some of those differences were from your end, and maybe why it didn't quite work? Because you sent us a copy, great, thank you very much, that we got to try it, and it was great. Gameplay was fun, but it just didn't seem to stick with people. So maybe what happened? Yeah,
that, and people ask about Space Park a lot, and I don't mind talking about it at all, because actually Space Park. I mean, I'm in Space Park mode, but Claims of Gold.
Sure.
Yeah,
Right.
Kyle
Claims
wants
of
to
Gold.
talk Space Park right now.
No, I love
deflection.
I love talking about Claims of Gold, because actually Claims of Gold, it was the first game I started designing when I started Keymaster Games. So it's my mechanical design. Mm-hmm. It's also I was the illustrator behind it too. Nice. So yeah, does it hurt that it didn't fund on Kickstarter? That's like an artist dagger, right to the heart. Yeah. I'm okay with it though. I'll address what we're thinking. We're making a few changes to it behind the scenes. The game that you played, we think it's a great game. We think it's a tight game. The math works behind the scenes in the game to make close games all the time. And we think the artwork is really good. not just from my perspective as the illustrator, but we sourced a really awesome map that really puts it in the time period, and we kind of built off that level.
Yeah.
The biggest lesson we learned with Claims of Gold was that Kickstarter has seasons. And we kind of knew that going in. We weren't 100% sure how like that affects small companies like us.
Sure.
But we put Claims of Gold on there right at the tail of what would be considered an okay season for Kickstarter. It was headed right into the Thanksgiving time period, as well as Christmas and holidays and things like that. So when we did our initial push and we launched that game, there was no response. Just like people were checked out, holiday season. I know like personally, my inbox was filling up every day with just like emails about holiday sales and stuff like that. Like I probably couldn't find my own email that I sent out to everyone to tell them about the game.
Sure.
So we think that was a big factor. There wasn't a lot of funding happening on Kickstarter at that time. There were games getting funded, and ours was not one. Like ours just fell below the line on that. So we think that was a big factor. Also, if you're going to compare Claims of Gold with our other games, let's say Campy Creatures and Space Park, Claims of Gold is it's a worker placement style game, which is a German style game, which is very family friendly, but it's not a lot of confrontation. Also, in the theme is very because the theme is old in time, and also it's not aliens, going for gold, and it's not like explosions and Space Park, stuff like that. I think you're missing out on a lot of that like flash and pizzazz. Whereas the game itself is solid and the gameplay is really good. I think it maybe misses the hook that people are going to look at it and be like, yeah, gold mining, So
is the revised version going to have aliens and explosions?
No, we're looking at some minor like gameplay changes and stuff like that, but a lot of it will
minor.
Oh, there's so many puns in there. We've been immersed in that. We're taking it back in. We got a lot of response about the cover artwork in general. I mean, it was a sluice box design, which if you play the game, to us, it's like, yeah, man, that totally makes sense.
Yeah.
A lot of people miss that mark, and so maybe a cover redesign to showcase more of the art as well. So just some tweaks like that.
Yeah.
And we still have it. The benefit is that the game exists. It has all the artwork, so it can only get better from this point because we'll have time to work on it. And one also great thing is that we're coming into convention season and we have booths lined up. We're going to be at Origins this year, and we're going to be at Gen Con again. So we're going to have a presence, and we will have Claims of Gold there to play. And we do think that when people play it, like you guys played it, there's a awareness and an excitement that happens with the game.
Yeah.
So and we think that'll help Claims of Gold in general.
Sure.
Here's what you need. I've got this. Target or Walmart one. There was a period. So the Gold Rush show that comes on. There was a period where you could spend like $5 and get like a Gold Rush bucket that came with like a scoop of dirt, and you can just put a scoop of dirt in every box. That's the answer, because those things sold like hotcakes.
I know. I actually sourced dirt for the campaign. We did not put it in there, but I maybe you're onto something, and we should just source a pound of dirt in every
potential gold finding.
Absolutely.
A Kickstarter exclusive would be great. Yeah.
You mentioned finding out about like Kickstarter seasons and stuff. What have you learned from when you started in Kickstarter to where you are now, that maybe somebody, if they're thinking about doing a game or a book or a movie or some project on Kickstarter, what are some things to watch for if you're a creator wanting to get on Kickstarter?
I think the biggest thing about getting anything on Kickstarter, board games have become the number one category.
Right.
The industry itself has accepted Kickstarter as a platform.
Cool.
And so that's why you see a lot of board games on there. But even if it's music, something, or another category on there, a book, a children's book, or whatever you're working on, 99% of the work is done before you hit that launch button. So there is tons and tons to do before you actually launch the project. I think a lot of creators that put their stuff on there, they launch too early and then they realize, oh, I don't have any of this figured out.
Right.
And I'm not saying you need to have everything figured out, because, you know, like if your project explodes and now all of a sudden you need to figure out how to get these rewards, way more rewards than you can do in your garage or by yourself, like you can figure that part out. And there's companies and stuff like that that'll help you. But I'm saying like the promotion side, like sharing your work. Don't treat it as like a secretive thing that you're going to release on Kickstarter. Kickstarter launching is not the time to be like, now look at all this stuff. Like there is a whole month before that. You should just start sharing it, build your crowd, build your excitement, and share and let people in on the project, because that's the big thing, is people want to be in on the project and they have a voice. They want to know if they can change things or if they can add to the project at all. So
Cool.
Okay, so let's shift back to Space Park and let's talk. You mentioned briefly the artwork. Tell everybody about the artist you've brought on to work with on this game, because holy crap. I mean, this game is beautiful. So talk a little bit about that, and then the desired stylistic approach you guys took to this game.
Sure, yeah. Brian Edward Miller is the illustrator. He's known as Orland Culture Shop. That relationship just happened through Twitter, actually.
Nice.
We were working with Josh Emmerich, who did Campy Creatures, promoting Campy Creature stuff, and Brian just commented on. We had seen Brian's work with REI and some other clients he's worked with, and we just really love that landscape, immersive detail.
Definitely feels like a national park type approach.
Oh yeah, and I don't think he's done national park per se, like old style posters like we've seen. Right. But when we see his work, that's what we're thinking. We're like, oh man, like if we make up a location, this dude would just knock it out of the park. And so we struck up a conversation and went into his quoting process and all that, and he was totally on board. And so it's been, I'd say, 6 to 10 months we've been working behind the scenes with him to develop these locations for Space Park. And so Maddox handles a lot of the art direction, creative side. So Maddox is I call him the art director of Keymaster. So like where we will brainstorm together on an idea, theme, stuff like that for the game. And then also where it lands like in the style realm. And then Maddox handles the day-to-day meetings or week-to-week meetings, making sure that follows through on that theme. So yeah, we wanted to go for classic, like straight up national park. And these are immersive places that we want to explore. And Brian did a just unbelievable job, like making you feel like this is a place you can go in and explore. So, and then we wanted to showcase that in the game as well. So that's why we put him such large pieces for the rockets to go to.
Okay, so I think we're gonna shift to finals, and then we'll circle back to Space Park. So I want to know from your perspective, and you alluded to it a little bit, that there was a little bit of a dagger to your heart when this thing, when you're putting yourself out there on something like Kickstarter, where you're essentially saying, here's what we have been pouring our heart and soul into, and something, and not everybody receives it warmly and welcoming. What does that do to an artist's soul? Like, what did that do to your soul, and how long did it take to recover before you were ready to like, okay, we're good, let's push out this next project? Like, what does that look like? Maybe a little bit more of a detailed mindset.
Sure. Yeah. The crazy thing about Kickstarter is there's API and stats for everything. So there's websites that track your projections. And I'd say several weeks, like just a couple weeks into the project, you can kind of look at the numbers and be like, this is not going to make it. So there's like, if you're talking about like there's a grieving process, I would even say, as the artist, that one hurt because I'm the artist, the game designer, and I'm the publisher of that game. So like
Yeah.
normally that'd be 3 people, but like that is just like
You've got all your eggs in this basket.
that was all my eggs in there. So to see that one, you know, the curve, it just didn't look like it was going to happen. Those are thoughts. As the artist, I'm thinking like, hey, did I not do a good job? You know, like I felt like I was right on par. Those are just like you just don't even think about that. But because you have people in my corner, like Maddox is telling me, like as the art director, I had him play the art director and treat me like an illustrator in that situation. So like my art director is telling me, no, we hit the mark. Like this is good. And then as well as he's playing game mechanics as well, checking my mechanics because I don't want to just put out mechanics because I'm the publisher. Right. So he's also telling me, no, the game is solid. You're solid on that. So then it's just like thinking about the roles, and then I step into the publisher role and I think, hey, you know what? No, this is a great game. I think we just missed the mark on timing. I think we missed the audience. I think it just needs a little more reworking before that. So like, I think in many different ways I just had to deal with that. And I'd say, you know, with 2 weeks to go, we realized it probably wouldn't fund, but we're just going to leave it out there. We thought it was better for it to go unfunded and not get its goal than for us to pull it back and say something is wrong, because we didn't want people to think something's wrong with the game. We did something wrong or something like that. It's better. There's tons of great ideas out there that just don't get the funding. So we felt like that was the better call for us to just be like, let it go unfunded and then we'll come back with it when it's a better time. So
yeah.
Who are you going to get to design your next aorta? Because I feel like you could have someone paint it before it goes in your body. So if you had one artist that you could have living inside of you, who would it be?
Oh, that's a good question. Right, currently,
is that a good question? That seems like a super weird question.
No, it's that world is crazy. Medical science, these people that make stuff are just unbelievable. Currently, I have a bovine valve. I'm part cow, and it's on this platinum iridium stent. It's like a framework that's in there, you know. And so, like,
You're like the couple $100,000 man.
Oh, yes. That's
the couple $100,000 man.
Yes, you're not wrong. But yeah, and I was almost due for a different type of procedure. They weren't going to have to open my chest up. Long story short, they were going to just go through my leg. It would be like an afternoon, and I would have felt better. But I was just like, quote my surgeon, I was too early to the party for that procedure. It's just not quite proven yet. So, we're talking 10 years from today, who knows? Like, it could be crazy, you know, like technology and stuff like that is absolutely crazy. So, yeah. And now if artist, I don't know. I couldn't give a name, but like, I'm blown away by the people who make that stuff and design it.
That's crazy. All right. Well, that was a weird kind of pocket we just jumped into.
Let's get back out of that. There's going to be a point where you can just fire up your 3D printer and bust out whatever part of your heart you need, and then you can have your boy Emmerich just like go to town on it, and then just pop it in and be done.
But it's only seen by me and the inside of me. That's the special part.
Well, you obviously Instagram it first.
Yeah.
Anyway, all right. I'm going to shift the gears again. All right, my last question. So there's another game that's on your website, and this one is super interesting to me. And it says coming soon. It's Caper. Can you talk a little bit about Caper?
I would love to talk about Caper, and I would love to come back and talk about Caper in depth.
I love that.
Caper is going to be drawn by Josh Emmerich.
Yeah.
He is feverishly working on it as we speak. We've heard tales that he has locked himself in the basement and has grown a full beard. So he is hard at work on Caper. Caper, the game, is actually a Spanish game called It's Mine.
Yeah.
It's a 2-player game. You are scoundrels, thieves, and you pick a city to play in. That's the start, and we'll include several different cities. So let's say you're in Paris and there's things to steal. So you're amassing your crew. of henchmen or thieves with you, and you're giving them items to work with, and you're trying to steal goods from the city. And It's Mine. Lots of people love It's Mine. It's on a lot of top 50 lists of games of all time.
Yeah.
It was produced in English, but only distributed in the Spanish market.
Okay.
We found the game and loved the game, and so we reached out to the designer of the game and said, "Hey, we'd love to do this in North America. Can we put our own little spin on it, artwork-wise? We're going to make a few tweaks to the base game. We're going to refine the iconography because it's very iconography heavy.
Yeah.
And it gets a little confusing to start off. So we're just trying to streamline all that design-wise and look-wise, and then add a nice scoundrel type, it's a little Gatsby meets, sort of quirky vibe.
Yeah, man.
And put that on there, build a world like that, much like we built the Campy Creatures world.
Right.
And we'll be releasing that really soon, actually. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'm ultra excited for that because one, we're huge fans of Emmerich, and he's a cool dude, and we've had him on the show, and you introduced him to us. And you can't see it, but like right behind the camera is the Blob from Campy Creatures, but also anything that has that kind of 30s. 20s kind of flapper era style to it, which is what it looks like from the really, really beautiful, simple but beautiful kind of key art teaser that you have out there. I'm in it. So all right,
also
so
it's a card game, and card games are great.
Yeah. So tell everybody where and how they can support Space Park and get on this train while it's still getting ready to leave the station.
But yeah.
Spaceship.
Well,
yeah.
I mean, I guess you can get on the ship before it leaves the
Seems like you had a really obvious... It's fine.
It's fine.
There's a spaceship waiting for you at Starlight Station.
Nice.
It's happening.
See, I should have just let you do it. Tell everybody where and how they can get on board.
Sure, yeah. Space Park currently on Kickstarter. We are funded, so you will get the game if you pledge. It's happening, and we are reaching out for stretch goals to make the quality of the game even better. You can go to enjoythegalaxy.com to look at the pledge tiers there, and we also have super high quality giclée print posters of the destinations. So Brian has kicked in there, so we have his posters there, and you can grab yourself a full set of posters. We have postcards, we have t-shirts, we have lots of artwork related stuff to go with the game if you love the art in the game.
What I love about what you guys do, you guys take the art component and the visual component seriously, and you help it become more of an immersive experience by being able to get the art. And I'm wearing my Blob pin as we speak, so the idea of taking these components that people fall in love with and then creating other products and ways for people to enjoy them beyond just playing a game it's a smart business move. And if you're into the art, Keymaster is where to be. Well, thanks for chatting with us. Before we get out of here, would you help us pick our tokens for next week?
Yes, let's do it.
Awesome. All right, well, that's it for the interview portion. Up next, we're going to draw some tokens. Every week we draw tokens to find out exactly our categories that we're going to talk about. We pick our topics based on those categories. Here they are. They're very real. I'm going to put them face down in front of me. I'm going to shuffle them up. Give me a number between 1 and 3, and you'll be picking for me.
I'm going to go with the number 2.
Number 2, I got toys and games. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Okay, you have 1 or 2. You'll be picking for Patrick.
Let's do 1.
Patrick, you have art and design. That means, Luke, you have TV and film. Congratulations, everybody who did it. Thanks so much for chatting with us. You can find all the episode artwork. Nope. Well, that too. But all the episode show notes and everything right below us, or go to mf1podcast.com. If you hit the archive there, you can listen to our other episode with Keymaster Games where we talk to Maddox at length, and also Josh Emmerich. And hopefully shortly we'll be talking with Brian, the artist from Space Park. That's the goal anyway, because he's super good. But so many other talented artists, designers, creatives, filmmakers, whatever else, toy designers. just we have had a ton of people on here over the
Yeah.
years. But go there and do that. While you're on the internet, subscribe on YouTube, on Stitcher, on Spotify, on iTunes, on Google Play, and soon iHeartRadio.
Yeah.
That's the rumor.
That's the rumor. So subscribe wherever you're at, and then like and share and comment and rate and review. You guys know how to internet. You're watching this. You're not dumb. So just do all the internet things for all of our internet presence. That just helps us out a ton. If you want to support the show financially, go to patreon.com/MF1podcast. Drop a few dollars in there each month, and we will give you some special stuff just for being a part of it. That helps us continue to do what we do. We have some really cool stuff coming up. We're going to be at Crop in Baton Rouge, and then we will be at Creative South, I believe, with our friends Kyle and Maddox as well. So if you want to see all of us, go to creativesouth.com and register. Go to crop.com and register as well. We have a what's it called? What's it called, Patrick, at Creative South? What do we call that?
Hot
A
seats.
workshop?
Workshop. That's it. Yeah, we'll be hosting a workshop. So join us on there. There's so many thousands of things. It just feels like just do one of them or all of them, and we'll be happy. Find us on social media. Just search MF1 Podcast. We're on every platform. You know where to find us. Guys, we'll just get out of this episode. I'm Andrew.
I'm Patrick.
I'm Luke.
I'm Kyle.
Peace out.
Bye.
Hold on to your butts.
Play more games.